In the heart of ancient Sumer resided Inanna, the captivating goddess of love, beauty, and war. Her allure was undeniable. Her eyes, dark and deep as the night sky, held the power to mesmerize all who beheld them. Her flowing black hair cascaded like the waters of the Euphrates and Tigris, and her graceful form was adorned with exquisite jewels and luxurious garments. Inanna was a formidable goddess revered and feared in equal measure. She was the protector of lovers, the muse of poets, but also a fierce warrior, leading armies into battle with unmatched ferocity. Her influence was boundless. Her power felt in every corner of the world. Yet, despite her immense power and glory, Inanna yearned for more. She had conquered the heavens and the earth, but one realm remained beyond her reach: the Underworld, the shadowy domain ruled by her sister, Ereshkigal. Determined to conquer this final frontier, Inanna resolved to descend into the Underworld, despite the perils that awaited her. She knew Ereshkigal would not welcome her, and that the land of the dead was a place of darkness and mystery, where death reigned supreme. But Inanna was not one to back down from a challenge. She was prepared to risk everything to achieve her goal. In her sacred chambers, Inanna meticulously prepared for her perilous journey. She chose her finest attire, woven from threads of gold and silver, and embellished with precious stones that shimmered like celestial bodies. Each garment was a masterpiece, a testament to her divine beauty and power. She adorned herself with a necklace, symbolizing her regal authority, and her wrists were encircled by solid gold bracelets, etched with symbols of protection and power. An ivory comb, adorned with pearls and gemstones, held her hair in place. Inanna understood the power of appearances, knowing her attire could awe and intimidate even the most formidable denizens of the Underworld. Before embarking on her journey, Inanna summoned her faithful minister, Ninshubur. She entrusted him with a critical task. If she failed to return from the Underworld within 3 days, he was to plead with Enlil, the god of air, to rescue her. Ninshubur listened intently and vowed to fulfill his duty, promising to do everything in his power to ensure her safe return. Bidding farewell to Ninshubur, Inanna embarked on her journey to the Underworld. She knew the path would be fraught with danger, but she was resolute in her purpose. Resplendent in her royal garments, Inanna descended the darkened stairway leading to the Underworld. With each step, the lights of the world above diminished, replaced by an oppressive gloom. The air grew heavy, the silence profound, as if the earth itself held its breath. Upon reaching the first gate, she encountered the guardian, Neti, in a voice both stern and menacing. He demanded to know who dared disturb the peace of the Underworld. Inanna, with unwavering confidence, declared herself the queen of heaven and earth, come to visit her sister, Ereshkigal. Neti scrutinized Inanna, his eyes lingering on her jewels and adornments. To enter the Underworld, she would have to relinquish her earthly possessions, for they held no value in this realm. Reluctantly, Inanna surrendered her radiant crown, the symbol of her royal power. Neti opened the gate, and Inanna continued her descent. At each gate, she was forced to relinquish another cherished possession: her earrings, necklace, bracelets, belt, breastplate, and, finally, her regal cloak. With each sacrifice, she felt her power wane, as if she were becoming more vulnerable, more human. Finally, having passed through all 7 gates, Inanna stood stripped of her power and status. Feeling exposed and fragile, she entered the Judgment Hall, where Ereshkigal, the queen of the underworld, awaited her. Ereshkigal sat upon her throne, her pale face as grim as death, her eyes dark and empty, fixed upon Inanna. The 7 judges of the underworld, the Anunnaki, stood silently around their queen, observing Inanna. Ereshkigal questioned Inanna's motives, reminding her that the living were not welcome in her realm. Inanna struggled to maintain her composure, her voice trembling slightly as she claimed to have come to offer condolences for the death of Ereshkigal's husband. Ereshkigal erupted in scornful laughter, accusing Inanna of seeking to usurp her throne. Rising from her throne, she declared Inanna guilty of arrogance and greed and sentenced her to death. The Anunnaki seized Inanna, dragging her to the center of the hall. She struggled in vain against their grasp. They hoisted her up and hung her lifeless body from a hook on the wall. In the world above, Ninshubur anxiously awaited Inanna's return. When 3 days passed with no sign of her, he knew something was amiss. Remembering Inanna's instructions, he donned mourning robes and sought the help of Enlil, the god of air. Ninshubur pleaded with Enlil to intervene, but the god remained indifferent, stating that Inanna had violated the laws of the underworld and must face the consequences. Desperate, Ninshubur turned to Nanna, the moon god, but he too refused to help, claiming he could not interfere in the affairs of the underworld. On the verge of despair, Ninshubur remembered Enki, the god of wisdom. He was their last hope. Rushing to Enki's temple, he recounted the events and begged for his assistance. Moved by compassion and wisdom, Enki agreed to help. He knew that Inanna's death could disrupt the cosmic balance and wreak havoc upon the world. Using his ingenuity, Enki created 2 sexless beings, the Gala, and instructed them to journey to the underworld. Their task was to use their cunning to restore Inanna to life. The Gala ventured into the depths of the underworld, guided by Enki's wisdom. Their ambiguous nature baffled the Guardians, allowing them to pass through the gates unnoticed. Upon reaching the judgment hall, they found Inanna's lifeless body hanging from the hook. Following Enki's instructions, the Gala began to chant mournful laments. Their eerie, melodic voices echoed through the hall, filling the air with magical energy. Enki had provided them with the food and water of life, which they offered to Inanna. Sensing the life-giving energy coursing through her, Inanna opened her eyes and drew a deep breath. Life returned to her limbs, and she was released from the hook. Inanna was alive, but her ordeal was not over. The Gala informed her that to leave the underworld, she must choose someone to take her place. Inanna hesitated, unwilling to condemn another to eternal existence in Ereshkigal's shadowy realm. But the laws of the underworld were absolute, and she knew she could not escape without complying. Accompanied by the Gala, Inanna ascended back to the world above. Upon arriving in her city of Uruk, she expected to find her husband, Dumuzi, mourning her absence. Instead, she found him in his palace, feasting and celebrating. Inanna was enraged by Dumuzi's indifference to her suffering. Consumed by anger and betrayal, she decided that he would be the one to take her place in the underworld. Panic-stricken, Dumuzi tried to flee, seeking refuge in his sister Geshtinanna's house. But the demons of the underworld dispatched by Inanna, captured him and dragged him to the realm of Ereshkigal. In the underworld, Dumuzi was condemned to replace Inanna, paying the price for his heartless disregard for his wife's ordeal. Geshtinanna, heartbroken by her brother's fate, was determined to save him. She pleaded with Inanna for mercy, offering to take Dumuzi's place for half the year. Touched by Geshtinanna's devotion, Inanna agreed. In this selfless act, she saw a reflection of the natural cycle of life, death, and rebirth. Thus, an agreement was reached. Dumuzi would spend half the year in the underworld with Ereshkigal, and the other half in the upper world with Inanna. This arrangement symbolized the cycle of the seasons, with Dumuzi representing the fertility of the land. During the summer, he would bring life and abundance to the upper world, while in winter, he would descend to the underworld, bringing death and rest to nature. The story of Inana and Dumuzi became a myth about the eternal cycle of life, death, and rebirth, and the importance of balance between the upper world and the underworld.